Okay, so today I'm going to show you how to do the Starburst Granny Square. So we're going to be starting with magic loop. I like my centers to be adjustable so I can kind of decide where they're going to be going, and we're going to be doing 16 double crochets into our magic loop. So we've got a chain 3 that counts as 1, and then 15 double crochets. So we're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, so 6 more. And 6. So let's count one more time, because better to count twice than not count at all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 16, and then we're going to cinch up a circle, pull in that first loop first. Get kind of like the size hole that you want, and then cinch it closed. I'm going to be leaving little holes in each of my little squares here. 1, 2, 3. And now we will be doing puff stitches in each of our double crochets, followed by a chain 2. So it'll be puff stitch, chain, or puff stitch, lock it in place, and then a chain 1. So how I start my puff stitches is I just pull out my loop to the height that I want, I yarn over, hold it with my thumb, go back in, pull it up, and these puff stitches are with 3 times through the loop, lock it in place, chain 1, and then go into your next stitch. 1, 2, 3 times, and lock it into place, and chain 1. And we'll be doing that all the way around. 1, 2, 3, whoop, lock it in place, chain 1. And if you want your puff stitches to be more puffy, you can do 4 times or 5 times. You can play around with it. I'm just doing 3. But it really doesn't matter for your stitch count on the top because you're pulling through all the loops at once. And going all the way around. and our last one. And then we join to the top of our first puff stitch. Get into the top of that. Slip stitch and then slip stitch into the gap here. Now you can change colors every row. I'm just doing the circle parts in blue, and then I'm going to be doing a white border along the outside. But you can do it however you want. So the next stitch we'll be doing all the way around is a 4 double crochet cluster followed by 2 chain stitches. So that's you want to chain 2, yarn over, only pull through the first 2 and leave these 2, and you're going to be doing that until there's 4 posts. So that's 3, 4, and then we're going to cluster them all together and chain 2. And that's going to be kind of our petal. So 1, 2, 3 posts, 4 posts, pull through, chain 2, all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, chain 2. And that just kind of clusters them together and creates these little points at the top. Alrighty, so we've gone all the way around. Sorry if I was bouncing around all over the camera. I get kind of zoned out. And then we're going to be slip stitching into the top, which is this stitch right here that locked it into place. Alright, now this is the end of our round. So we're going to want to cut this, and then we'll be adding our white square around. Okay, so cut a nice long tail here, that way we have lots and lots to weave in. And before I start, I like to go in through the back way of my next stitch, and I like to take that tail and pull it through the back to hide it. That way only the stitches, oops, sorry, totally got off camera there, so only the stitches are showing, right? So it's all nice and even in the front, and then the tails are all hanging out in the back. Alright, so to make the square, we are going to be using a combo of half double crochet, and triple crochet. So we are going to start with the double crochet. I'm going to use a standing double. There's lots of videos online to learn how to do that, but it's basically just wrap the yarn around your hook going forward this way, whole bunch of times just to hold it. Doesn't matter, you can do it 3 times, you can do it 2 times, but we'll be making a standing double in the space in between. So that's 1 through 2 loops, and then I just kind of keep that kind of wrapped on just to hold it steady for first couple. And we're going to be making a cluster of 3 double crochets like a granny, and then I just kind of let that fall, and then we got our 3 double crochets there. So that's 3 double crochets followed by 3 half double crochets. And if you want to pin your tail, you can do that. It'll just kind of help to start weaving it in, but we're going to be doing 3 half double crochets. Right, so that it's shorter than this side because we're going to be making our corners, followed by, I do not keep holding the tail down. I'll let it go through those first 3, but then I let it drop, because if you keep carrying it, it's going to create big loops around these clusters, and it will pull out. I've made lots of blankets where I've done that, and they all pull out. It's terrible. So 3 double crochets. So 3 double crochets, 3 half double crochets, 3 double crochets, and then we start our corner in the next space here. So we will be doing 3 triples, a chain 2, and 3 triples. Oh, did a double. Triple. Followed by chain 2. And you can see how it's staying straight. Followed by 3 triples. And there's our corner. And then you just repeat that all the way around. So it's triple, chain 2, triple, triple, 3 double crochets, 3 half double, 3 double, and then all the triples again. So we're on double crochet, so 3 doubles. Right, because we're starting to get lower. We want to get it lower toward the peak of the circle and higher towards the corners of the circle all the way around. So 3 half double crochets. Followed by 3 double crochets. So if you're reading the pattern, it would say something like, you know, 3 TRC, triple crochets. So 3 TRC, that's what we did. Chain 2 would be CH2, 3 TRC, 3 triple crochets. So that would be 1 TRC, 2 TRC, 3 TRC, and it would say it all in the same space. So it would say 3 TRC, CH2, chain 2, 3 TRC, all in the same space, and that means that you're going to be doing all of those actions all in that same space. Then 3 DCs in the next space. So that's DCs for double crochet, 3 DCs in the same next space, 3 HDC, half double crochet in the next space. Right, and when they're saying spaces, they're just meaning the spaces in between those clusters. If they say stitches, they mean in the next stitch. Right? Oop, we're on double crochets. So you always kind of want to take a look back and see what you're doing. Make sure that you're at the right space. Because when you're making this corner, it's easy to kind of get off whack, especially if your kids come in running, wanting water or juice or something. So 3 double crochets, so we have our triples, double, half double, double, and now we're back onto the triples. Chain 2, 3 TRCs. Alright, and I'm going to write out this pattern on my blog. That way, if you want to try and just follow the pattern, you can. That way you can kind of get an idea for how to read patterns if you don't already know. I highly recommend it. There are so many beautiful patterns, and there are not enough YouTube videos to show you how to do all of them. And as your skill level grows, these videos get very annoying because they'll go really slow in parts that you already know how to do, and you'll just be wanting them to speed up. And just get on with it and just read you the pattern. Alright, so we're on our last triple corner, and then our square will be done. It's such a pretty square. I couldn't find it written down anywhere. I saw a lot of YouTube videos, and we're just going a tad too slow. So I figured I'd speed things up a little bit. So, there we go. We're at our join. We had our standing double crochet here. You're going to want to find those top 2 loops there. At the top's a little hard to see with this yarn, but they're there. Top 2, see that little V? And just slip stitch into both sides of it. through the whole stitch. Pull it through. Cut a nice long tail. Find the next stitch and go backward through it. Grab your tail and pull it through the back. It's not showing. Who wants these things to show? Not me. There we go. So, next step. Weaving in the tails. We got nice long tails. That way we can weave them in, and if you don't know how to weave in your tails, I'm going to just kind of give you a real quick little visual here. So your tail for the magic loop, you're just going to want to get your embroidery needle, and you're just going to be going around and around in circles, kind of skip a stitch, go backwards around that circle until you used up most of this tail, and then cut off the end. And if you weave it through back and forth, you'll be fine. For this tail, as I said, I would not keep following this line all the way through. It will come out. It'll just pop right out. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go down your post, go around, go up your post, go around, go down your post, maybe skip a stitch, go back the other way, maybe go down this way, right? Do it all on the back side of your work. Don't do it on the front. Weave it in, go in between, split your yarn, split, see how this already wants to split, unravel a little bit. Put your needle in between those and go through, go around, just up and down, up and down, up and down with your needle. Don't pull it too tight. You don't want to be pulling this really, really tight, or else you're going to, when you're done, when you go to wrap yourself in your blanket, you're going to feel that really tight piece of strand. You want it loose. That's why you want a really nice long tail when you cut it off. Don't feel like you're wasting your beautiful yarn. Think of it as securing your work forever. And I'm going to bring over a blanket I made a couple years ago that I did not do this to, and I've regretted it, and I'm going to show you. Okay, so here's the back side of my very favorite blanket I made. This is the Kata square. It's a little pilly now because I use it every night. It's my go-to blanket. It's been used, abused, washed, and everything. But look, this is what happens when you do not weave in your tails properly, when you don't leave enough length and you don't weave them up and down, up and down, up and down, and backwards. I tried, because there were a lot of people on these Facebook news feeds, and they were just like, oh, just carry your yarn along the row. And what's happened is that almost every square of mine, I've had to kind of, I go back every once in a while and I'll try weaving it in, but sometimes, like, see, look, this is what happens when you carry your thread. You get a piece of red going through where maybe you don't want a piece of red. You have the blue going through where maybe you don't want the blue going through, and it just picks right out. It comes out, it makes its, and this is after washing, so the fibers have kind of blended together a little bit, but the tails still hang out. So please leave enough length and take the time, because you're going to make something that you really love. I absolutely love this blanket, but it's annoying when I get all these squares where I carried the yarn thinking I could just kind of cut corners, and this is what happens. This, I did not leave this like this when I finished. It was woven in. I carried it along as I crocheted, and you don't want to do that. And this is why. It comes out. The tails will start popping out. Maybe by the third or fourth time you wash it, you have tails everywhere, popping out, and then you're going to want to cut them. But the thing is that you don't want to cut too close because it will just start unraveling the stitches. So what I'm having to do now is try and pick them out carefully, and then start weaving it the proper way, down a stitch, over, up a stitch, revert, skip a loop, go back down the same direction, and just kind of make a little box and then cut it really tight. But weaving in, a good long tail, like you're going to want to weave in about 6 inches and then cut it really close. That way your tails don't pop out. So that's my little lesson I've learned. But look at how pretty that little starburst is. This is a really pretty square. I've got some wool coming in that I can't wait to make a big giant blanket out of it. And, so there you go, the Starburst Granny.